What's good, folks? Welcome to another episode of the Cover One Film Room, the show that gives you the hows and the whys behind both the good and the bad of the Buffalo Bills. I'm one of your two hosts, Anthony Prohaska, joined as always by Erik Turner. And
Yo.
Erik, we got a fun one tonight. Well, I think we pretty much think every episode is a fun episode, but a particularly fun episode tonight, especially for those who think we're too hard on Josh Allen at times. We've got a nice, light, fun, but still X's and O's based episode here in the film. And we are going to be diving into Josh Allen's top 10 best throws from 2023, what led to them, how we categorize them. We got some feedback from our Cover One insiders and obviously from ourselves as well, and kind of put some things together. So a nice, fun off-season topic, especially in kind of like the doldrums and dead time of the offseason when we're just looking for anything and everything to speak about.
Yeah, you're right. I'm glad that you even mentioned the insiders because one, we couldn't do any of this without them. But two, as we always say, the insiders are the ones that help produce these shows and give us the content, give us the ideas and topics, for these type of weeks where there's not much going on. It's kind of in between like off season, mini camps and training camp. And so, we want to do something fun. We want to do something that is kind of scouting based. We're going to talk about not just his top throws, but as you said, the things and context that led to those top throws, because a lot goes into obviously a single play, a single act like that. And of course, it's Josh Allen, franchise quarterback for the Bills. It's going to be fun. We have 10 clips. And honestly, we probably could have made this like a top 25 to 40, passing clip or highlight reel. But we whittled it down to 10. But even between you and I will say that, some of the ranking is going to be all over the place. So, we're going to go through some of the 10 clips, and there are going to be times where Anthony, you're going to have a play ranked higher or lower. So fire that out so everyone knows. But in the end, man, it's going to be fun. It's a perfect time of year to do these type of highlights and breakdowns on Josh Allen.
And you hit on several points that I think made this fun and also like challenging. Because we came up with this idea, or we spoke about this idea like maybe like a month or so ago. We were like, oh, let's keep this one in the chamber and then we'll hit it like when we hit it. And then just thinking, like, even like ranking, like which one is my favorite, or like what are my top three? Like, how would I order the top 10? How we ended up like doing a consensus top 10 for it, and like what the top 10 is like. And it's cool too. I think I feel like if you asked like 10 people to give their top throw or their top three, I feel like we could predict some of them just based off of the moment or the team like they came against. But it's really cool to see like the conversations that the insiders had for us in the Slack channel, and then, in the Discord channel, like we got going on now, like how people categorize what a top throw is. Some people like just look at the throw. Some people, the team that it came against matters a lot, or the moment that it came. Some people, one of them for me, like one of my top three it's towards the lower end for like our overall ranking for this episode, but it's one of my top three because of not necessarily the throw, but because of his footwork and his eyes and what he did before that. And there's certain people find different things aesthetically or visually pleasing, and that kind of goes into it as well. Like it's cool to kind of see how people rank stuff, or even Erik in the comments right here saying it wasn't a throw, but I loved his 51-yard run against the Steelers. Like what people gravitate towards is different based on whoever you ask. And it's cool to do these type of exercises and episodes, especially when we have people in the live chat, to see people who be like, I forgot about this throw, or I can't believe this throw is 9. This was my number 1, and vice versa, and all that kind of stuff that comes with it.
And that's what's so fun about these type of rankings and the way we do it. Again, visually, Josh Allen's fun to watch. Like he makes a mundane play fun and a normal throw fun. A 40-yard rope throw, it's like normal for him. It's baseline behavior for him. Yeah. So that's what's going to be fun about this episode. You talked about, yes, the type of throw, whether it's a rocket, whether it's got some touch to it, some layers. He took some pacing off the ball. We're going to talk about some of that context, because yes, the act of the throw, the type of the throw is really predicated on what happens before that throw happens, whether he saw pressure or didn't, whether there was a window opening or closing. All of that and all these factors kind of play into it. And that's what, when we are kind of looking at these, and it's something we always look at when we're watching film, is the context. And so some things that are going to come up, Anthony, when we watch this film, for the episode, but also when you guys get through some of these rankings and the top 10 throws, or things to pay attention to are like the situation, like you said, is it a big moment? Is it third and fourth down? Was it in the red zone? How much time was left in the game or in the half? The movement in the pocket, right? That's a big one because he's very good off script, but off script and getting outside the pocket and throwing on the run is a strength of his. There's no doubt about it. He's been one of the best since he's come in the league. But you can also, extend the play and play off script within the pocket. You can extend plays within the pocket. You can manipulate the pocket within the structure and time in the play. So those are just two factors. Again, situation, movement in the pocket, two situations that come up, before the throw even happens. So what are some other things that you look for when you're talking about some of these plays and some of these throws?
Ooh, the caliber of opponent, like that it came against overall, but also like individual, like, Allen completes this throw to so-and-so. Who was the corner that was covering him? Or was it like a huge mismatch where it was like, okay, that guy's going to win all the time? Or it's like, no, this play came against, spoiler, one of the throws that we're going to have, I think, arguably our number one. No, it is our number one. Came against like one of the best corners in football last year in a big moment against a big team. So I look at like caliber, I look at the route that it was completed, like how hard of a throw is this versus other like NFL quarterbacks? Like, is this a regular throw that's made? Like, what's the difficulty for the throw itself? What's the difficulty for the opponent or versus the opponent that it comes against? Also, like the quality of the route. Like, was the route so great that the receiver got himself open, or did Allen have to throw that guy open? Was the route not great and the receiver or pass catcher drifted a little bit and kind of accidentally closed the window on Allen? So Allen had to put a little zip on it. Was he throwing with anticipation? All these like little detailed pieces within the larger context. Opponent caliber is a big one for me. Like if you can make a throw where, some, like, I don't want to say any and spoil any of the answers, but like, that this corner is a premier top 10 corner, top 5 corner, and they're in great position or they don't get beat very often. And Allen just placed it in a perfect spot where that corner couldn't get to it. Like, that doesn't happen very often, but Allen was able to beat that dude with the throw like it. And honestly, there's so many things, just like when we watch film, which is why watching one game takes us like 17 hours because there's a million things to comb through.
And the other thing that comes up for me, I like that you mentioned, anticipatory throws. Sometimes that coverage is unfolding, it's changing pre to post snap, and he has to anticipate and throw it half a click sooner because the window's there and the ball needs to be through that window by the time that defender gets to a certain area on the field. So that's important, obviously, to the completion and the overall execution of the play. But one thing that always comes up when we're talking passing all together is general accuracy versus placement. And I think you're going to see some of these plays, especially like when he gets outside the pocket and he's on the run, like you're going to see a lot of these plays like, okay, it was ridiculous. He pulls off some amazing play, evading pressure, getting outside the pocket, holding up a pass rusher and then getting the ball out where he put the ball in the vicinity of his guy to make a play. But then there are going to be some passes where he's just standing in the pocket and he's gonna thread it in an area through a window around several defenders where it can't be general accuracy. It had to be perfect placement. And you're going to see some of those plays too. That's what makes, this so much fun, especially when you're talking the prospect Josh Allen was coming out of Wyoming, how far he's come to see. Yes, the off script stuff and all that, but also how he can extend plays from the pocket, how he can manipulate the pocket, hold the ball a half second longer because of how big and strong he is to make that pass down the field for a big play. We're going to cover a bunch of that tonight, but yeah, general accuracy versus placement is a huge thing when you're talking quarterbacks all together.
And especially going into this year for the Bills, kind of speaking on that, it feels like every offseason it's, what about yards after catch? And like, can you generate some yards after catch and yards after catch? And I feel like a lot of people usually think about the player that's catching the ball and like, okay, Cole Beasley's great, but he's not a big yards after catch guy because of the type of receiver that he is or the type of routes that he runs. Some of that in terms of yards after catch for guys comes down to the quarterback and where they put that ball. Like, do you put it in a spot where you set that pass catcher up for success where they can make that catch and continue to go forward? Or do they have to stop? Is the ball thrown behind them? Do they have to make an adjustment which stops their momentum and causes them, to lose that opportunity to get forward? Ball placement is so very important, especially in today's NFL where defenses are built to stop the pass in a myriad of ways.
Yeah, and Erik says Allen has mostly waited until his receivers were open and then just zing the ball.
Mhm.
This past season, he finally learned to throw them open. I agree to a certain extent. I think he has anticipated throws in the past as well, especially if we're talking when he had more separators, which is
Mm,
something that over the years he kind of lost some of those guys. But I do think that there were some, we talked about them. The coverage beaters are pretty, um, they were prevalent in the Dorsey offense over
mm.
the last year and a half. And even under Brady, they did run some of those coverage beaters that we critiqued a lot over the last 2 years.
Yeah.
But those type of plays, as they ran them often, and he was well versed in them. So he was able to anticipate more, as Erik is talking about. So I do agree when it comes to most of that. But it's fun. Again, it's gonna be a fun episode, and I want to get to the film immediately. Again, top 10. We're gonna have all different types of situations, and keep in mind the situation. What down is it? Where is the on the field? Where is the ball? How much time's left in the game? Any type of
Mhm.
movement in the pocket? Was it an anticipatory throw, or a throw like Erik said? A throw like Erik said where he anticipated. Was it one he had to hold a little longer to wait for that route to develop? And then finally, what type of throw was it? Was he on the run? Was he from the pocket? Was it a type of a level one throw where he's just
Mhm.
throwing a dot? Does it have some pace and layer to it? Like all those things when it comes to watching these, top 10 plays are going to, come into effect. So without further ado, and let's get to some of this film.
Absolutely. And for those of you joining us live here in this episode, for each play that we bring up, we're starting with number 10. We'll make our way from 10 to 1. As we start to bring up these clips, let us know in the chat, where does this one rank for you? Does this one not touch your top 10? Is this one your number 1 or an easy top 5 or easy top 3 for you? And even if you're not watching live and you're watching later, feel free to let us know in the YouTube comments too. Like, what the hell were you guys thinking? Like, throw 8 is definitely at least throw 3 because of yada yada. We love like the discourse and the feedback and just the overall conversation, especially with something as fun as this, where it's just basically just watching the QB of the Buffalo Bills ball out and do some alien and unicorn type stuff.
And speaking of, unicorn type
Yeah.
stuff, right off the bat against Los Angeles, Josh hits the top of his drop and then again extends the play. And one thing that him and Davis did so well over the years was, play outside the script and outside the structure of the play. And we're gonna have to take a time out here. Arterius, man, we appreciate the love here,
Oh,
man. He
wow.
says, can't wait for the season. Glad I'm able to catch another stream finally. Yeah, we haven't seen you in a while, man. Where you been? We
Yeah.
missed you, buddy.
I started to turn and look at my notes because I was going to pull up a stat to piggyback off of when you spoke. And then I came back and saw this. I saw the pink and saw the super chat. That's tremendously generous. Thank you for being here. Yeah, we missed you and we appreciate you being here. I always get caught off guard with like super chats in general, especially
Yeah.
the very generous ones. It's super heartwarming considering just all things. So thank you very much for being here. Thank you for the super chat. Man, the power of Josh Allen and just top 10 throws. It gets people
Yeah.
excited.
Yeah. Little pressure, scramble drill. And this play to Davis outside of script, down the field for the touchdown, the big play down the field was, when you're looking at expected points added, on some of these throws, I have some of those stats. This was the third highest pass all year that he completed when you're talking EPA, 4.8 expected points added on this play. And it looked like it was supposed to just be quick game to the bottom here. Looks like he wants to hit Kincaid on the pivot. And once, Kincaid kind of slips out of that break, he's looking to Diggs, but you can see it's Derwin James kind of sitting there. So Josh, with pressure and the pocket kind of collapsing around him, gets outside the pocket and it hits Davis down the field for the big play.
And this was one where the Bills needed every ounce of points that they got in this game. They beat the Chargers 24-22, but this touchdown came into the second quarter when the Bills were down 10-0. The night before Christmas Eve, Chargers kind of feeling themselves a little bit with nothing to potentially kind of lose here. And this, so not only was this an awesome play in a vacuum, but also a big moment given what was needed. And you're highlighting Khalil Mack's track there. He
Yeah.
gets inside on Dawkins and then Allen tries to evade him and sidesteps him. So Mack puts the brakes on and spins back outside to then try and make a play on Allen. Nice job for Connor McGovern there, kind of peeling back
Yeah.
and getting his hands on him. Spencer Brown is driving. I can never get I think Tui Peloto, I never get his name right, is
That's
driving
close
the
enough.
yeah, right, close enough. I'm just gonna say is driving the edge for the Chargers outside and around the arc. So Allen is avoiding Mack, then he sidesteps to avoid the edge rusher that Brown is putting behind him. So good pocket manipulation, navigation of the pocket from Allen. And then I really love when he escapes, keeping those eyes downfield,
Mhm.
trying to make something happen with your arm and not just settling for trying to do something with your legs. And then just an absolute dot. Like we broke this play down at the right after the Chargers game that week in the film room. And it's a good job by Davis in terms of finding the green grass,
Yeah.
recognizing where the gaps in the coverage is and getting himself open. But it's just a dot from Allen. Like he drops this right in the bucket. And so that pocket navigation and highlighting Davis's track there, you see him turn and get open. So you've got the cloud corner on the outside coming down on Cook, and then Eric's boy and free agent favorite wish list target, Alohi Gilman,
Oh, yeah.
safety to the top. He sees Khalil Shakir coming across the field. So he drives on Shakir. And all of this is happening as Gabe Davis turns. He sees there's nobody deep, and he just takes off and beats Kenneth Murray down the field. And that's a really nice catch by Davis, but a dot from Josh Allen. And a fun little stat with that, out of 200 qualifying players in 2023, Gabe Davis was ninth in total EPA generated on broken plays. He was also ninth in yards on broken plays as well. So he was a significant factor along with Stephon Diggs and along with
Yeah.
Dalton Kincaid as well.
Yeah, and that's something that, the Bills are going to have to replace. Davis and Diggs were the go-to guys when pressure was on Josh Allen. They were also the go-to guys on plays like this when Josh was outside the pocket, throws on the run, whether it was designed or not.
Mm,
Diggs obviously was, always a top target, and especially if you're talking quantity receptions.
mhm.
But Davis, if you look at some of the bigger plays over the years, and even just last year, down the field, outside the pocket, Gabe Davis shows up a bunch. And so having to replace those two type of guys in those type of situations is very important next season. Who's going to step up to the plate when it comes to those situations?
Yeah, and it's something we talked about a couple weeks ago, and the only one really, Kincaid. You and I went over some numbers off air.
Hmm.
That surprised me with how prevalent Kincaid was, and that gives me hope for going into this year. But yeah, Diggs and Davis are going to be, significant absentees when it comes to those broken plays and the aspect of the offense. And another ridiculous throw from Allen.
Yeah.
This also, too, I know so many people hate Stephon Diggs now. This is a ridiculous catch from
Yeah.
Stephon Diggs. Like, there's so many beautiful pieces on this play. It also comes against Eli Apple, I believe, who nobody likes, which also makes it a nice, fun little nugget. Not to mention the big moment in this game, last game of the season, playing for the division in the 2 seed. A lot of awesome pieces and,
Hmm.
contextual variables going into this throw here.
And prior to the snap, you can see Allen and Diggs,
Mhm.
kind of communicating with their hand signals right
The
there.
John Cena.
Yeah, and that they know they're getting cover zero here, and this is something Josh always does, and I think he's done it the most against the Dolphins. All right, the Finns over the years again like to tax Josh Allen. They love bringing cover zero, man up, no one deep, and Josh just loves drifting and is buying time so that he can get these passes off down the field. He's not looking to throw it hot. He's not
Mhm.
looking to throw a slight adjustment. He's trying to extend the play, and he backpedals like 15 yards at times when this happens against Dolphins, but he buys just enough time to hit Diggs down the field. And I love this throw because again, he's extending the play, giving Diggs time to get down the field and showing off kind of his footwork and athleticism. But the throw, look at where Diggs is as the ball's in the air. Josh throws him so that Diggs can stack him late in the play. And then you see the hand usage by Diggs as the ball drops in. And as you said, great hand-eye coordination and reeling it in just inside there, inside the 5-yard line by Diggs on a great pass from Josh Allen. Great understanding and communication prior to the snap.
Mhm.
Again, context prior to the snap. He knows cover zero is coming. He knows one of these guys is free. You see a 2-on run right here, and Dawkins has to get out here, but he has to help McGovern. And so again, Josh is buying time. It almost feels like he's walking into this, but he buys just enough time and drops it in the bucket for the big play.
This type of throw gives me kind of like those Brett Favre vibes a little bit, where he's
Yeah.
making that throw to his left and he's not really stepping and doing it. It's almost kind of like a fadeaway deep shot. And yeah, like you said, he buys that time. doesn't step into this. This is just arm strength and arm talent, like letting this throw go. Like he
Look where
almost
he's
has
throwing
like
it from too, dude.
yep,
The
exactly. He's
45.
throwing from his own 45. And this ball lands as we let it run.
Yeah.
This ball lands at the
Just at 9-10 yard
yeah.
line.
So like just casual, no big deal. Like
Yeah.
whatever. You know, this is also too kind of like those like college pro day type throw. So they just want to see you do something ridiculous, like roll to your left a little bit and throw it with like off a poor platform and see how far you can chuck it. And I love you mentioned like being able to throw this to Diggs to allow him to stack the corner, like throwing it to a spot that's advantageous for Diggs to get to. Like he doesn't throw this towards the sideline and make it a harder catch or throw than it has to be. He throws it to where the space is because he knows what the coverage is. He knows what's going to happen. And then, yeah, this is ridiculous from Diggs. Like the hand fighting, he chops down on that inside arm from Apple and then is still getting grabbed by Apple. And look at him pluck that. Like that's an all hands catch as he's sliding down. He plucks that from the ground. Just a ridiculous throw, a ridiculous catch. And again, in a game where you needed every point against a team that everything was coming down to for both of these teams, like the Dolphins kind of choking away the AFC East, the Bills coming out of nowhere to take it. The moment was big. The game was big. It's the last game of the season. Oh, I also like this comment here from Deion Pawkins saying shows how much he trusts Diggs too. Yeah, absolutely. Like knows that he's got that one-on-one. Him and Diggs give the John Cena to one another, and then he throws it to a spot, having faith that Diggs will be able to go up and get it and make that play.
Right. And so on to the next play here. This is the touchdown pass against the Commanders. This was just a frozen rope from Allen to Davis once again. I mean, on the line into the third, into that third of the field here, you know, outside the pretty much numbers or and whatnot. And I love how on this play, it's one we've broken down many times, but I love how the action across the formation here by Diggs, it changes the coverage here. So they spin post snap and change into something else. And the Bills make it look like they're going to run this double post here, which they love to run. And usually they'll bring a guy from the backside. But you can see David Edwards is the extra offensive lineman here. And obviously Diggs is now down here as a third option. But they're running kind of like a sail concept. You get a corner route right here from Davis and another one from Kincaid. But this throw from just inside the, 40, where are we at? 43, 44-yard line?
Yeah, roughly.
Yeah, and on the line, left hash, and then once again, outside the numbers, right on the hands. But you can see the trajectory. It is on the line. Again, changing the type of throw there. Big time throw from Josh to Gabe for the touchdown.
Yeah, this is like nothing overly complicated for me and why I like it. It's everything you said. Like it's just a frozen 40-yard rope. And Gabe Davis, like, I don't even think he breaks stride. Like this is right on line with the angle he's taking to the end zone. He doesn't really have to turn his body too much. He doesn't have to slow down. This is perfectly right on the hands. And also too, like away from the safety, like the safety gets fooled a little bit and widens a little bit as he sees Gabe Davis getting upfield. Beautiful right there as you like you showed it. Like that safety goes more upfield rather than kind of taking the angle to the corner, and that gives just enough space. But it's not a horrible play from the safety. He's still there, but Allen just has too much heat on this throw, and to have this level of juice, he's able to step into it. It's so pretty. You see that right leg coming through. He almost looks like a pitcher following through, coming down through the mound. Like just to put this on a rope 40 yards downfield on the button to a receiver where he doesn't have to break stride. Like all Gabe Davis has to do is put his hands out and it literally hits him right in the chest. Like this one's just so aesthetically pleasing because of the placement, the timing, the accuracy, and just how precise everything is about it.
And the little details that I like and I want to see more of. Yes, it's shotgun, but they run play action. But I want you to watch, you know, how the pocket kind of forms off this play action. So you kind of see as he's meshing with Diggs here on this jet action, you see him kind of shuffle this way a little bit. So of course that's going to draw some guys, you know, on this side, draw some eyes over there, kind of widen the pocket. But then you kind of see, look, he makes it look like he's going to half roll off to his right. And again, what that does is now look at this pocket. Like, of course, they have the numbers game when you're talking blockers versus rushers. It's just a nice deep pocket off of play action. We'd like to see more under center play action next year. But either way, good play action, big time throw from Josh which is why it made the list here for tonight in the top 10 throws for Josh Allen.
And
Now,
they did
go ahead.
No, I was just saying, in that Washington game, I liked, it was one of the things that really started giving me more hope for Ken Dorsey was how much they moved the pocket in that game and those little wrinkles of just trying to keep Washington's front,
Oh my gosh,
off
that was
edge.
fun.
And
Yeah, good point.
like, and that was back-to-back weeks. Like what they did against Max Crosby in week 2, and then they followed that up with kind of neutralizing the Washington front with pocket movement and chippers and
not just the
stuff.
pass game, man, right?
Yes.
It was also the run game where they use influence blocks, like, hey, the tight end's gonna block the DN. Nope, he slides inside, gets a linebacker, then you get a kick out. Like, they did some cool things when you're talking the run game and the passing game, in like you said, back-to-back weeks versus some very good defensive linemen.
Yeah, it was very encouraging. And yeah, that Washington game, I wonder if it'll make another appearance here on this top 10 list. This next one, so this one here to Khalil Shakir, closer to the bottom. But for me, this one is up towards the top. This was my third favorite throw of his for the entire year. And I recognize there may be some that I'm not saying I think it's his third best or it's the third best play. But for me, this was in my top 3. And it starts with the movement in the pocket. Again, like we showed with that first clip, like Allen got outside against the Chargers and made a play off script outside the pocket. This one is a little bit off script inside the pocket. As the pocket is breaking down, he's got guys in his face. The end zone angle is tremendous on this one. As you see Spillane there, you highlighted his track, crosses. Yep. Crosses right over 69. The gap is there. And you see Allen as he turns and he's going through his progressions. He sees Spillane coming through. So he's like, let me evade, maybe step up. As he does that, 69 comes off his man, and Allen has to break down, and he's like, let me go somewhere else. He has to back up with 69 in his face, Crosby coming through, Spillane coming through, and as he's doing all of that, his eyes pick up Khalil Shakir, and then watch him sidearm swing this thing. Right,
found the window, right?
Yes,
found that window.
Ridiculous, like the arm slot for him to put it right in that window between all the pressure coming through, and it's on the button to Shakir. Like Shakir has to go down a little bit for it, but it's in stride. It's somewhat in rhythm relative to Shakir. I love this one just because it's him like almost embracing the chaos of everything breaking down around him staying poised, calm, cool, and collected, and then just making a ridiculous arm angle throw for a tutty. Like that, it's just nuts.
Yeah, and you talked about extending the play from the pocket, staying in the play, and it also shows off his game speed because initially the defense shuts them down. You see Diggs is taken away. This is a corner route from the tight end. Very good leverage over here by the defender. And Josh really wants to hit this angle route, Texas route by Cook, but you can see the leverage by that defender is really, really good. And that's taken away. So now Josh sees Crosby in his face because Brown got, turned around there. And then again, that little twist inside created that interior pressure. Everything looks like it's collapsing around Josh. And as you said, he embraced it, got his eyes back up onto the probably fourth option on this play, and is able to, again, buy a little more time at the end to, get away from the pass rushers right here, kind of back up just a little bit, get his eyes back up right here, and then make that throw, find that window, change that platform and delivery, and get it to Shakir. Trust that his guy is going to maintain that separation, get open, but even more so, get into the end zone. Just awesome stuff from Josh. Again, playing above the scheme. That's what happens from time to time. That's what you need your franchise quarterback to do from time to time. It's what separates the good quarterbacks from the elite quarterbacks, right? Like the elite quarterbacks make these type of plays inside the pocket, outside of structure, but also outside of structure, outside the pocket. So good stuff here. And I agree with you. I do think this is one of his top plays from the year. And it just from top to bottom, man, he pulled it all out. He was almost like a magician on this play.
It just has such a high degree of difficulty. And I think this play, if you took this play and it came against the Chiefs, or it came later in the season, or it came in a more like meaningful game, I think this would be higher on people's list. I think because it was, week 2 and it's against the Raiders, it's kind of a throw that's like forgotten about. And I actually even forgot about it all from off the top of my head until we started putting the list together and I was thinking of everything. Like it's just, look, and that's a tremendous freeze frame. Like He's got a defensive tackle bearing down on him, literal hand in his face, and he picks up Shakir and just that throw is stupid. Like that's the throw that maybe like, I don't know, 2 or 3, maybe 4 QBs in this league can make. Like it just takes so much. There's such a high degree of difficulty here. And it's just, yeah, this one sticks with me. There's just so much happening. And also too, we're doing this in slow motion.
Yeah.
All of this happens in real time in like under 2.7 seconds. So the fact that he's able to navigate all of that and make the right decision and execute physically with this throw and his footwork in the pocket, nuts.
That game speed and the athleticism in a phone booth. Again, getting out, his feet to get out, get his eyes back up. And look, he still doesn't get taken to the ground. There's no QB hit there.
No, it's
guys are untouched. Guys are untouched in coming free right at him, and he still was able to stay on his feet and never take a hit.
And part of that ties into one of my favorite stats for him. Courtesy of PFF, one of the advanced metrics that I really like is pressure to sack percentages.
Oh, yeah.
And it's literally just a percent of, for how much a quarterback is pressured, what's the percentage of those pressures that turn into sacks. And in 2023, out of 41 qualifying QBs, he had the lowest pressure to sack percentage at 10.1%. And you see it because of sometimes it's his strength, right? Sometimes it's he can stiff arm defensive lineman and get out of it. Sometimes it's athleticism. Sometimes it's a little more technical with his footwork and his eyes like it is on this one. And it's something that's really, benefited Allen these past several years and something that he's improved upon. So going from 2019 to 2023, he was 25th out of 39, 16th out of 39, 35th out of 38. Then in 2021 is where it started to turn. He was the lowest out of 38 qualifying quarterbacks. 2022, he was 30th out of 41. And then last year, again, lowest out of 41 qualifying quarterbacks. And the lower the score, the better, because you want that percentage to be lower. Just his ability to navigate in the pocket is, especially when the Bills' offensive line hasn't necessarily been the best over the years, he's been kind of the best deterrent for pressures turning into sacks. And that was a great example right there.
Right. And you're talking about plays from the pocket. Here is a pinhole throw to Diggs right, at the goal line against the Eagles. And you can see, I wouldn't say Diggs is really open here, but Josh trusts him. Again, this is something that we're going to talk about a lot. Who's going to be the guy to step up? Who are the guys that are going to step up in these type of situations when you're in the red zone and, you're running these 5 wide looks. Everyone's getting into a route. Who's going to make the play for Josh Allen when he stands in there and tries throwing these into these small windows? This was, if we're talking, general accuracy versus placement, this was deadly accurately placement on this play against the Eagles. Like just great stuff from Josh.
Yeah, this throw, like you highlighted it right off rip, like with the coverage, there's not really space there. And then from a degree of difficulty standpoint, it's windy, it's rainy, the ball is wet. It's not exactly the best situation to kind of throw the football. It's third down, so it's a high leverage situation. You were playing the Philadelphia Eagles, who at the time had not started to fall apart. So they were very much like a formidable foe at this point. Also, this touchdown comes with 12 seconds left in the second quarter. So this is as they're trying to drive and get some points before the end of the first half. It puts them up 17-7 going into the half. So there's some big moments to it. And you highlight what Allen has there. You highlight the marker up top for third down and then the space to the left. And I still can't believe he pulls this throw off. And this is also one for me too. Kevin Byard is still a good safety.
Yeah.
He's on Diggs from the jump.
Time. Yep.
Yes, he's on him. He sees this throw. He drives on it. And this goes back to one of the points you made earlier of, ball placement. Allen puts this throw away from Byard, away from 52 Zach Cunningham, and then away from, I think that's Blankenship is the safety up top, who's the next nearest defender for the Eagles. Like he puts this spot, it's a high degree of difficulty for Stephon Diggs to catch this ball, which is also another element that I love. I know it's not Allen related, but a tremendous catch from Stephon Diggs. But the ball placement, like the gall, like you could have just, let me scramble to the left, see if something can happen, or let me dump it down to Shakir and we'll kick the field goal. But his ability to drive this ball through the rain, through the wind.
Look at the line of scrimmage. It's coming right into his face too, man. He stands in there with his eyes up.
Just, again, on third down, at the end of the half, being able to stand there and just look at him just drive that ball right through the window. And Shakir puts his hands up like, oh, I'm going to catch this. Nope, it's over your head. And just the placement right to Diggs on the goal line for that touchdown. Byard is literally draped on his back. Like, this isn't, oh man, the defender lost his guy or there was a gap in the coverage. Like, the coverage was decently sound from a structural perspective. There is not a huge window. The defender is all over it. And he also waits. He throws this. Cunningham 52 starts to drop into this window. Yeah, I'm highlighted right there. He starts to drop, but watch the angle that he takes. Like, Allen is watching that the whole way. And as soon as he sees, Blankenship turn on Gabe Davis up top, and then he sees that space that exists between Blankenship and Cunningham and just fires it low and away to Diggs from Byard. Just ridiculous ball placement on this. And again, considering the situation, the weather, that one just has such a high degree of difficulty.
Yeah, and speaking of ridiculous throws, I think everyone remembers this 81-yard touchdown to Khalil Shakir. Awesome work from top to bottom. There's so much context to this play, whether you're talking eye discipline, the coverage changing post snap, the velocity on the throw, the window, the smallest window that he fits it through. And this play earned 6.3 expected points added on this play. That was the highest completion all year for Josh Allen. Again, 81-yard touchdown pass to Khalil Shakir. Now Shakir gets the huge assist post catch, but the ability of, the arm strength from Josh Allen, to fit this in there versus cover 3, versus Sauce Gardner, dropping into that third right there up the seam. You see him kind of squeeze right there as that post safety kind of rotates to the middle of the field. And Josh has a hand in that. He's using his eyes, looking out to his left to get that safety to the post and keep him open right here, with Kincaid, but then eventually snaps it around from the left hash and then rifles it in there in that window. And Shakir does the rest post snap. This was a huge play, obviously against a divisional opponent at home in Orchard Park. Just awesome stuff from Josh. Again, the different type of throw, the explosive play, the context pre to post snap. You see the eye discipline, the little pump fake. It's all there. He knew what he was looking at. He knew what he got, and he needed that type of throw to fit it in that seam to Shakir with that arm strength, that arm arrogance, I should say, right? The arm arrogance from Josh Allen saying, you know what, Sauce? Can you get there faster than my arm can get it there? And on this play, he couldn't.
And he needed every bit of that eye manipulation to move the safety, to give himself that little bit of extra room in that seam there. And, something that we've talked, you've talked about it a bunch since the time Allen was coming out, like him not being great at those seam balls and kind of so throwing this and hitting this. You've got that extra defender dropping. So this is 8. There's 8 in coverage for the Jets here. You highlighted the defensive lineman who's dropped. They're only rushing 3. Allen, not only does he zip this in there on the seam and beat Sauce and manipulate the safety, as you've shown there, he's got to layer it over that dropping defensive lineman who, for, credit to him, gets up there a little bit. He's got a little bit of bunnies in that jump. He gets his hands up. Allen has to layer it over there. This isn't just like, okay, cool, I can fire it on a bullet straight line and beat Sauce Gardner. No, he has to layer it over a dude underneath. And again, he's beating Sauce Gardner. Like you showed it initially. Sauce doesn't take the play off. He doesn't kind of blow coverage. As soon as this play happens, he communicates to the apex defender, and then he drops and squeezes on Shakir. He kind of reads it pretty well and even breaks on the ball. Like his eyes are on Allen. His eyes are on Shakir. This isn't a blown coverage or there's a ton of space. It might look like there's space, but there's really not. And to get it in there against one of the best corners in football.
And a long corner too.
That's exactly what I was going to say. Yeah. Those long arms and that reach, like this isn't Roger McCreary out there, my boy, with those little baby T-Rex arms. Like Sauce has stupid long arms. Like he's got edge length type of arms. So not only are you fitting it in there against a corner with speed and closing ability, but who also has that length, which gives him that added bonus and boost in generating PBUs, which he's been one of the best in since he came in as a rookie. So this one is another high degree difficulty throw with having to layer it, getting in it against the coverage, and who he gets it in there against. And also a little bit in the moment too. This is Joe Brady's first game as OC. I think this was a big play that a lot of fans felt the offense had been missing. So this was a nice, like, kind of kick in the pants in terms of momentum. And then you get the Dalton Kincaid block to cap it off as
Yeah,
well.
the Duke block right there to spring Shakir, just awesome stuff, top to bottom. The context of that play was so much fun. You could tell again, Allen got what he wanted on offense. And here's another play,
Mm,
really showing a different part of Allen. That we talk about plays from the pocket. Since Allen's coming in the league, he routinely breaks tackles in the pocket. And here's a play where he extended it
mhm,
from the pocket. He's able to hit Diggs on this play against the Eagles. And he had several big time throws and plays against the Eagles. This one to Diggs on third down. Just awesome stuff from the pocket. The awareness, his arm strength, keeping his eyes downfield. And again, you know, hanging in the pocket right there after the pump fake, sliding up in the pocket, as you'll see from the end zone angle and kind of reloading almost like 2 or 3 different times, right? And like his ability to step up here, you see him pump fake, slide up in the pocket. Everyone's coming at him. Like you would
mm.
think, okay, just get down, just get down. We don't take a big hit. 2 hands on the ball, slides up. His eyes are still downfield. There's a guy in his face. He's getting, Torrance is getting pushed into his face. And somehow he still has the arm strength, the arm arrogance to get this to Diggs as he kind of falls off to his left for the big play, for the first down. Just awesome stuff from the pocket from Allen.
And again, who like it comes against? This is before Philly's defense kind of fell apart. 98 is Jalen Carter. And the edge player beating Spencer Brown around the corner there is Hassan Reddick,
Mm-hmm.
now a member of the Jets, but who is choosing to skip training camp and practice so he can cosplay in Japan, which I think is super cool for him. So do you. He breaks the tackle from two really, 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 really good players, but it starts with that step up. If you notice, like that's a great freeze frame.
Yeah.
Notice how neither guy gets a really good body shot on Allen. They both get like glancing type blows. And that's because Allen's stepping up into the pocket, like you said, realizing where trouble is, where he can kind of release that trouble or pressure a little bit. So he steps up into the pocket. But then stepping up into the pocket leads to some problems, like you said, because there's Brandon Graham, number 55, and he's driving Torrance
Yeah.
back into Allen's lap. And then you've highlighted Nicholas Morrow, now a Buffalo Bill, who's sitting there spying Allen. So Allen can't step up and just run because Morrow is right there in his face. So all Allen can do is make a throw. But the throw that he has to make is with his right guard getting pushed into his lap. And even look at right there. Look at the ball. The ball is making contact. No, he can't throw it. It's also making contact with Torrance. So he has the grip strength to hang on to the ball. And then look at this. This throw is so dumb. And I mean dumb in like a cool, good way. Like, man, that's stupid. The only reason I say that is because you and I used that verbiage once, and someone in the comments was like, how can you think that throw was dumb? It was so good. And we were like, no, we mean dumb, like cool. Like this throw is just, there's no platform for him. He's not stepping up. He doesn't have good body position. He's got pressure in his face. He already had to evade 2 really good players. He's falling away. And he just flicks it out there again in the wind, in the rain, to Stephon Diggs against Darius Slay. And also shout out to Diggs for reading what's going on and just pivoting and putting the brakes on and completely losing Slay and getting open. Like, there's so much to like on this play as Diggs initially breaks inside, sees what's happening, feels Slay, turns wide open. And also the placement, like, look how good of a throw that is. Where that ends up for Diggs, like,
Yeah.
into his, considering everything that's going on behind the line of scrimmage, just, and the wind and the rain, nuts.
Yeah, nuts. But I don't know. I think this next play is probably even crazier.
This one is
Big
my
play.
favorite. Yeah.
Is this your number one?
This is my number one. Yeah.
Number one. All right.
I reference this throw all the time, like throughout the year. And it starts with that free runner, like Sweat bearing down on him. I mean, the Washington front was really good before they traded away Chase Young and Sweat. Sweat ends up going to the Bears and has a ridiculously good year. It kind of almost transforms the Bears front a little bit. But you get a free runner. You get a free runner bearing down on you. So step one is turn and look. And here comes Montez Sweat. What do I do? And Sweat actually like plays this decently. He breaks down. Allen gives him that little hezzy, the little pump.
Takes a hand off the ball, like the delivery is coming, so it gets him to go up just a bit, right?
Yep, sells it, lies right to Sweat's face. And then once he gets him up in the air, he bubbles out and he rounds it and he buys himself some time. But again, Sweat is really good and he's athletic. So he's able to close down on Allen a little bit. Plus 57 is bearing down on Allen. So it's not like Allen can keep widening out and going to the sideline. He's got to throw this ball. And he throws this off platform, almost a midair jump, shortstop type throw to Stephon Diggs down the field. Like, look at that. That's all arm.
Yeah.
There's no, okay, like, let me step into it or open up my hips.
No,
No,
he wasn't coming upfield, right? He wasn't
No.
running and getting his momentum upfield. He was running for his life to the boundary.
Yeah, he's literally running like the little kid in Little Giants. So blow the whistle, blow the whistle, blow the whistle. Like, that's him running to the sideline. He sees Diggs, uncorks one with all arm, and look at the placement. This isn't horrible coverage. Like, Washington has dudes in position. Look at the punch as Diggs makes this catch. The defender is right there to try and punch or rip this ball out. So again, shout out to Stephon Diggs for making the catch through a potential breakup opportunity. But the placement from Allen, even if Allen was standing with a really clean, beautiful pocket, the ball placement here would have still been good. But considering he had pressure bearing down on him and he's full speed on the run, rolling to his right, running horizontally, and just uncorks it with all arm and where it lands, ridiculous. Like, I recognize there's other ones on this list that are ranked ahead of it. This is just my favorite because this one's a 10 out of 10 degree of difficulty right from the start.
Yeah, third down, free rusher. He extends a play, gets outside the pocket, but he's the one that extended the play, right? I know it sounds obvious, but that little pump fake bought him enough time to win the edge, to win the perimeter against a very long, athletic defensive end. And again, now he's getting up to full speed, showing off that athleticism, getting away and evading Sweat with a guy, again, bearing down on him, and he's making that throw to Diggs. If running open, if you guys haven't noticed, there is a trend here. We're going to talk about it a lot over the next couple months. Diggs making a big play outside of structure, outside of, the initial play down the field. The play wasn't there. The all sticks concept on third down, running those curls at the sticks, wasn't there. Josh had to play outside and above the scheme here. And of course, he does that very well, which is why you see that big play down the field against the Commanders.
And again, third down, like, this was also like not a great weather day. It was a little rainy and a little misty out there. And also, we talk about it from a yardage perspective. He throws this like 35 yards downfield, roughly. Like, he uncorks this from, let's say, roughly his own 25.
Yeah.
And this ball lands. So at the 50, that's 25, 30, 35. Yeah, almost like a 40-yard throw.
Yeah.
Just on a dime.
Running for his life.
Running for his life. Blow the whistle, blow the whistle. And again, against like this would have been impressive even if it was against like some 5th or 6th string defensive end. It's against a really good edge player. Like, Montez Sweat is sick. You're making this against a dude who is potential like all-pro caliber, and again, who made a huge difference in going to Chicago, even though he's already a good player in Washington. Just, man, like, the angle, the trajectory, where it lands, like, this is so hard rolling to your right with two dudes hitting you. It's just nuts. I don't know what to talk about the most of that play. It's just all ridiculous.
It's definitely a play that we had to rewind several times tonight, but also when we broke it down during the year. And here's another one. This I remember Josh did an interview saying that this was probably his favorite play from last year against the Chiefs. Again, situation 3rd and long, the pass protection blown. And of course, Josh gets outside of the structure, escapes, and holds it to the very last second. You have a great stat on this play. When Josh gets to the boundary, how close to the boundary was he at?
Josh Allen was, so this is per Next Gen Stats, Josh Allen was 0.2 yards from the sideline when he released the ball on this completion to Latavius Murray. And that is the closest distance to the sideline of any completion since 2018. And then they go further with another fun fact of completions within 1 yard of the sideline since that time. Josh Allen has 5. The rest of the NFL has 1.
He does this so often. Like, we've seen him score touchdowns and throw touchdowns, again, holding to the last, and that Jets game kind of comes to mind, a couple of years ago, where he's rolling to his right, waits to the last second, hits Diggs for the touchdown. But yeah, this was just unreal. Again, you see the little twist here between 54 and I think that's 90 Omenahue. You see the twist there, and they're bumping Dawkins, and they're trying to, you see the right here, bounce inside from the actual guy that was setting the pick. You see him bounce inside, and that's something that defenses use a bunch. he gets a free run at Josh, and Josh sees it. His eyes are up, but then he sees that coming off the left side there, gets outside the pocket, switches the ball into his left hand. Keep
Ridiculous.
that again. We're talking play speed, game speed. Switches the ball into his left hand. Again, gets on his horse, gets away and outside the pocket. Awesome stuff. Mike Edwards chilling. He's like, okay. I'm not going to rush anymore. There's guys already, committed to going after Allen. What does Edwards do? He lets up. He doesn't think that Josh is going to be able to put it up the field right here. He thinks he's just going to throw it across his body right around here. He's going to probably pick it, which he always does, right? Edwards is always around the ball. But Josh is able to get enough while he's basically backpedaling into the boundary to throw it up the field, up and over Edwards for the play to Murray, who, of course, fumbles it at the end. But, man, this was an eventful play. There's no doubt about it, but one that you talk about only a few quarterbacks could execute this. That he might be the only one that could execute this. Like, this was just beautiful stuff along the boundary by Allen.
And situationally, it's 3rd and 9. It's in the fourth quarter, 10 minutes, 42 seconds left, and it's tied 17-17. And this is that stretch where the Bills literally need almost like every single game going down the stretch in order to make the playoffs. Like, things are looking bleak. It's not looking like the Bills are going to win the AFC East. Making the playoffs are potentially in doubt. They're just coming off the bye week. Before the bye week, they had lost to Philly. And this is the first game where they win 5 in a row going down the stretch against the Chiefs, Cowboys, Chargers, Pats, and then wrapping it up in Miami. So, like, the momentum is huge. Like, the timing, like, they need everything in this game. And this is 3rd and 9 where nothing works out. Like you said, like, everyone's blanketed downfield.
Yep. And they're all on the other side of the field, really, aside from Murray.
You have no one, like, you've rolled out to the side where there really is no one in the route distribution. So this is, from a percentage standpoint, like, you're effed. Like, nothing is working out here for you. And then also, again, the players bearing down on you, like Amenahue and Leo Chenal, like, those are both, like, good dudes. And then you've got Edwards there. Chris Jones is also in the play. And it looks
a play by Murray, too. Kudos to Murray.
Yes.
I think his awareness and of course, we talk about his blocking, how well that in some of those plays in the pass game as well, when he leaked out just like this. There was one against the Dolphins game, like the Dolphins games, where he leaked out and had a big play. Like, this is a pretty heady play by him too. He really bailed Allen out, really, when you're talking about Allen getting to that boundary.
He had a couple big receptions this year. The one that comes to mind too, I think the one in New England that the Bills lost, but he had that 3rd down conversion where he leaked out and broke like 2 or 3 tackles and got the first down on like a 3rd and 13 in the fourth quarter. Like, just a real smart, heady play, like you said, to get open. But Allen, again, like, this is the positive side to, like, the chaos that is Josh Allen, or the yin and the yang. Like, sometimes he'll do this and make some ridiculous throw and it gets picked because, he always wants everything out of every play. Like, he wants to maximize everything. And sometimes he makes boneheaded decisions or throws. But this is the pro side of that to go along with the con. Like, I think most quarterbacks are going to see this and be like, screw it. Let me throw it out of bounds, or let me just run out of bounds. He looks at Edwards. He sees Murray right there. Like, there's no one on this side for him to throw the ball to. And he's got like 5 Chiefs that are in the proximity, 4 and 3 immediately ready to make a play on him. He puts the brakes on, opens himself up to Murray, and is like, cool, let me try and make a play somehow. And not only does he try and make a play, he makes a ridiculous play. And also the ball placement again. Like, he hits Murray in stride. Yeah. This throw is so dumb. Like, I obviously love the Bills. I don't even love Josh Allen like that. Like, I think he's a good player, and obviously he's a QB for the Bills, but this is ridiculous. Like, you can hate Josh Allen and recognize this is so nuts. The moment, the team, the situational context, the leverage of the situation, but then the execution, like, the way, if you didn't know how Allen threw this ball, 0.2 yards from the sideline, falling down, fading away, being pushed over, flicking it, just look at the placement. Like, you would think that he had all the time in the world. It was like, oh, cool, let me just kind of float this in there. Because look where it hits Murray, like right in stride, right in his hands. After he slams on the brakes, this throw is this is another one that's just so ridiculously dumb.
That's what he makes him special, right? Like, in those chaotic moments, in those big moments, like, it's almost like the game slows down even more for him.
Yeah.
When you're in those condensed areas, when you're running out of real estate, you're running out of green, for some reason, he pulls a rabbit out of the hat every single time. And it was definitely one of those plays there. And honestly here too against the Chiefs, if we're being honest. So
Yeah.
this was what I put as my number one. Again, you talked about some of your number ones. You're getting everyone out into the route on this play. It's
Mhm.
third down. It's in the red zone. It's against the Chiefs. He gets off the spot. He's rolling to his left, throwing on the run, slowing up this rusher right here, this spy, and somehow throwing it to Shakir to a spot, and Shakir reels it in for the touchdown along the boundary versus Snead, who you talked about at the top, is arguably the best corner in the league, if not top 3. He's that good,
Mhm.
and Josh is able to thread that, from the end zone angle. You see, he's able to thread that. And to me, this placement and moment is just amazing. And just the throw. Look at that throw on the run. And honestly, when Josh let it go, he probably didn't even think that was going to get in there. Like Shakir was going to be able to reel this in for a touchdown. But look at the toe drag swag right there by Shakir,
Oof.
and steady hands for the touchdown against the Chiefs. Just awesome stuff. My favorite throw, my favorite play. We're talking throws from Josh Allen and execution. And hopefully Shakir is one of those guys that steps up, as we talked about this year. Him and Kincaid. Hopefully those are the 1-2 punch guys. When you got to have these moments, those
Mhm.
got to have it moments. Those two guys we expect to kind of step up their game.
Absolutely. And this one wasn't my favorite, but this is the one that I do think should be the number one on the list. Like, it's in the playoffs, it's in the divisional round. This game, or this score, I believe, put the Bills back up on Kansas City in this game. That obviously, like, it's the Chiefs are coming to Buffalo for the first time. Like, the moment, all of it. Yeah, the Bills were down 20-17 at this point. This score puts them up 24-20. And like you highlighted there, there's no one open
No one.
on this third down. Like, there is nowhere for Josh Allen to go. So he evades like he does, trying to make a play, trying to make something out of nothing. And also, too, keep in mind, this is a 3rd and goal. So it's not like, okay, it's 3rd and
Right.
4, 3rd and 3, 3rd and something. It's either touchdown or nothing. So Allen evades. Sorry, I had to cough there. Evades and makes a ridiculous throw to Shakir, front pylon, with L'Jarius Sneed in coverage. This was the first touchdown L'Jarius Sneed had allowed all friggin' year. I blame Jim Nance for this one. Nance is the king of, like, jinxing the crap out of everyone. He did it to Tyler Bass in this game. He did it to Sneed on this one. And it starts right from the snap, like you have highlighted. The edge crashes inside, so it forces Allen to have to evade out. And then here comes Leo Chenal, much
Yep.
like in the previous play against Kansas City. He's there. He's that aggressive spy watching for Allen. Allen puts the brakes on, breaks down a little bit. Again, he's got that advantage in space against Chenal. No disrespect to Chenal. Gets him to break down and allows him to just have some kind of window to the outside. And then look at that throw. He looks like Michael Jordan. Like, he's not on the ground. There's no base. He is split-legged in the air, throwing it to his left. And the placement to keep it away from Snead, front pylon, put it in a spot where only Shakir can catch it. And like you said, a tremendous catch by Shakir, reeling it in, getting the feet down, that toe drag swag, like you mentioned.
Yeah.
And then you can see Allen's reaction. Like, he completes this. You can almost see him be like, holy crap, like, that it was completed. Like you said, like, I don't even know if he thought this was going to be completed. And these two, again, go hand in hand. Like, we've broken down so much on this show, like the bad throws or bad decisions that Allen has made. That's an awesome comment from Jason saying
Yeah.
that throw makes no sense from a physics standpoint. It absolutely doesn't. Like, and we, both the good and the bad, like we say in the intro every week for this show, and we've shown this stuff from Allen where, like, you can't make this throw. Like, you shouldn't even attempt it. This is dumb. But these are the throws that he makes that it makes you understand why he attempts those dumb throws.
Yeah.
Because this is also a ridiculous, like, low percentage throw, and he pulls it off in the biggest game of the year up until that moment against arguably the best corner in football, who hasn't allowed a tutty all year. High leverage situation, high degree of difficulty for the throw, strong caliber of opponent, not a ton of separation, and a huge moment in a vacuum 3rd and goal, but also a huge moment in this game. There's just this throw is just, I agree. Like, I just think this is the top throw because of all the context, the throw itself, all of it. Like, it does not get better than this.
And we don't get to talk about athleticism and maybe more so specifically body control. the body control he exhibits prior to the throw here. We talked about everything leading up to the throw, but the body control right here as he's running full speed. Again, the game kind of slows down for him in these chaotic moments. And you just look at the body control. His hips are on the same plane the entire time once he's making this throw. Look at it's so calm. Everything is so smooth. And he somehow gets that ball across his body and pinpoint accuracy. We talked again, general accuracy and placement. This placement is on point, on the run, high leverage situation in the red zone. As you said, the moment was there, and Josh, he definitely came through along with Shakir on this play. This is definitely why, this was the number one throw from Josh Allen this past season, man. Just fun stuff, man. It's so much fun to watch. Going back through and watching all the film was just fun because it's Josh Allen. But when you got to those situations, again, those high leverage situations, those areas of the field and times in a game that really matter, you got to see not just good throws, but the whole package that Josh Allen offers as a quarterback and why he is so much fun to watch for Bills fans, but for NFL fans across the league.
That's such a great point. I think it's that whole package piece. Like these throws that we showed really had a little bit of everything, like accuracy, arm strength, pocket manipulation, athleticism, like pocket footwork, pocket strength, ridiculous mutant things that no one else can kind of do. Like it was every little bit of everything. And that's how Allen succeeds. That's how this Bills offense has gone. Like Josh Allen just doing so many ridiculous things because he has multiple plus traits and multiple plus attributes in all these different buckets. And he can kind of pick whichever one he needs to. Like he has so many different weapons in his arsenal. And to be able to just pull off some of these throws again, even in a vacuum, right? Like these throws would be impressive. If he completed that one, the last one we just showed against the Chiefs, if he completed that against the Panthers when the Bills were up like 40-0, it would still be like amazing.
Right.
But the fact that it comes like against the Chiefs in the playoffs, when you're down, like when you need it in, I believe the fourth quarter for that one, like just like, I'm sorry, third quarter for that one, for Shakir. Still a tremendous, like high leverage situation. Like, again, even if it happened against like a horrible team when the game is over, you'd still be impressed. But the fact that it came in that moment where things can really go wrong in general, but especially when you're in a high leverage situation and your heart's racing and your adrenaline's flowing and, maybe your hand's shaking a little bit and all of these things where the moment and the context and the situation and all of it can work against you, let alone the caliber of opponent you're playing. Just to see him pull off these throws, like, and again, I think that's what made it so fun going back and watching. I basically, to do research for this one, I just typed in my Twitter handle and Josh Allen into Twitter and went through like all the plays that I clipped throughout the entirety of the year. And it started like ranking them from there. And there's still, like you said, we could show another like 15 to 20 that were still like in consideration.
I started with 44 clips.
Yes, I remember. And you whittled it down.
44 clips and we got to 10. Like, so it was very difficult. Very difficult. And that's and again, that's because Josh is he's a great player. He is. Whether you're talking, just the throws, but also the context leading up to those throws, whether it's from the shoulders up or the athleticism and, the footwork and, holding it to the last second, all the little things that make Josh so much fun really come out in highlights. But again, this is the film room. We're not just going to show you the highlights. We wanted to break it down. We wanted to kind of weave in scouting stuff, what we look for, as we talked about this entire episode, the situations, downs, competition, what type of movement you saw prior to the throw, the type of throw, the like category of throw, and then just the placement, whether it's just generally in the area and hey, he got it there, like that was huge, or those placement throws, like you saw as well. I think this is fun to do when you're looking at like individual players, Josh Allen. We could do it for other players as well at other positions, and maybe we will. If you guys, like this type of like highlight top 10 type ranking shows, let us know. Let us know in the comment section. We appreciate you guys joining us live here early in the day. And let us know who you want us to, kind of do this for, because obviously Josh was he was the low hanging fruit when it came to this. But again, this topic came through our insiders, our backbone of the Cover One brand, guys that talk football with us all day, talk analytics with us all day, watch film with us all day, in our community. And so we couldn't do any of this without you guys. And if you're interested in becoming an insider, get to cover1.football to sign up. $60 for the year. You get a free t-shirt,
Mm,
get a sticker.
mm.
And we have a lot of giveaways coming up. We have some cool things in the holster for the season. And as soon as training camp starts, a lot of these things are going to start to roll out. So if you want to get through this tough part of the offseason, become an insider, join us in our community. And again, you're going to get a lot of benefits, behind the scenes footage, insider information if you do that. So once again, thank you to all our insiders, and thanks to everyone joining us live tonight.
Absolutely. We say all the time, and like you already said, like we wouldn't be able to do any of this without people tuning in, without the insiders, without extremely generous people like Arterius for
Yeah, man.
dropping that $50 super chat. Like that was awesome in this episode. Like this is there is no like shadow company behind Cover One. We're not like a small like not I would say not shell corporation, but like we're not an offset of like a major network or like this is just an organic thing that Erik decided to grow one day because he was frustrated with coverage from some other things, and it's
Yeah.
very much just grassroots word of mouth. And so, word of mouth is tremendous. If you enjoyed this content, tell your family, friends, loved ones, or anybody who enjoys ball. And then any of that additional support, whether it's dropping a like on this video and helping the stream here on YouTube, do better with the algorithm, whether it's listening on the audio platforms, rating and reviewing and subscribing, or subscribing here on YouTube, turning on notifications for the playlist, or the financial stuff, super chats and being an insider and all of those things. Again, like we would not be able to do any of this without you folks. Well, we probably do some of it, but no one would care because we'd be talking to deaf ears. So you folks make it a lot better and allow us to go further and farther with your support in whatever form or fashion that it comes in. So thank you very much for tuning into this episode. And as we start to wrap here, Erik, any final thoughts before we say goodbye to everybody in this episode?
If we're talking Josh Allen, what I do want to see from him this coming season, Jason, thanks for the kind words there. I want to see him. We talked about general accuracy and placement. I still want to see him continuously improve in that area. And it
Mhm.
sounds like he's been in the lab doing
Yeah.
so, working, in the off season and refining his craft. So I think that will be even more important if the Bills are going to attack in the short and intermediate areas more so because defenses are shutting them down the field. And also because of the type of weapons that they have that
Mhm.
as opposed to what they used to have. We always talk about separators, Um, I would say they don't have as many as they used to. So they have to win a different way. Josh has to win in different ways. And so it's up to Joe Brady, the offensive coordinator, to put Josh in those, positions to succeed with good plays and concepts. But Josh has to execute as well with very good placement so that those weapons he has cannot just get 5 yards. They can turn those 5 yard passes underneath into explosive plays. That's something that they need to be better on. It's something that you saw Mahomes and the Chiefs do once
Mm.
Tyreek Hill left. The Bills are now following in those footsteps. And a lot of that responsibility is going to come down to Joe Brady, but more importantly, Josh Allen.
That's very well said. That's something, I'm also keeping an eye on, and I think for me too, a lot of that ties into just, I'm very intrigued to see what this offense looks like schematically. Like you said, and we've said so much on the show, like so much of this year will come down to Joe Brady maximizing what he has on this
Mhm.
offense. And the ceiling is really going to be tied to what Joe Brady can do schematically. And the different direction they've gone with the pass catchers from a size and frame and body type and skill set standpoint, like it all points seemingly right now in theory to a different direction than we've seen in the past. And I'm excited to see what that direction looks like, if it
Mhm.
works, how it also ties into league trends and what we're seeing across the NFL from some of the best offensive minds and some of the best schematically run offenses in the league. It's a fun time, but it's also a little nerve-wracking because it is a departure from the known quantity and knowing what works. And we also understand that some of that hasn't gotten the job done come playoff time. So
Yeah.
maybe does this help kind of finally push them over the top and change things a little bit? And overall, this team just has so much of a changing of the guard from an off the field leadership standpoint, let alone on the field schematics and offense and defense, coaching, players, new faces, new voices, all this stuff and all the potential that it brings. So that's where my head is at, just kind of seeing where this team functions and how they function. And then offensively, like you said, like Allen fitting into that. Like, what does that symbiotic Joe Brady, Josh Allen relationship look like? How much is Brady able to elevate Allen or set him up for success? And on the other side, how much is Allen able to execute? Because as much as, we broke down things that didn't work with Dorsey, Allen wasn't on his game in a lot of the right ways in the early part of the year. And then you can have the other side of that conversation, which is, yeah, but it's on Dorsey to make sure that he's set up for success and yada, yada, and round we go. So do we have that conversation this year? Do we not? Either way, we will have you folks covered here every single week in the film room with game tape and metrics and marrying all of that to give you the full picture when it comes down to anything and everything Buffalo Bills. Like we mentioned earlier when we were kind of just giving out praise for all our supporters, please rate and review and subscribe if you are listening on the audio only platforms. If you're here on YouTube, please drop a like on this video, whether you're watching live now or watching from a recorded standpoint later. Turn on notifications for the Cover One Film Room playlist. Tell your family and friends and loved ones about this show and about this channel. Subscribe to the Cover One YouTube channel. We have you covered pretty much every single day of the week with anything and everything Buffalo Bills related. Training camp is pretty much a month away. We will have boots on the ground at St. John Fisher to have you folks covered for as much as we possibly can there. And again, not just, no disrespect to anybody who covers the team regularly, but more than just like, man, a lot of great handshakes happening at practice today. No, we will have you covered with what are things looking like formationally, schematically, as again, we try to figure out what this Bills team looks like on both sides of the ball, given all the changes that have happened for this team. But that'll do it for us here on this Wednesday, June 26th edition of the Cover One Film Room. For myself, Anthony Prohaska, for Erik Turner, that'll do it for us until next Wednesday, 5 p.m. Eastern, for another episode of the Cover One Film Room. We hope you and your family and friends and loved ones are all doing well and staying safe. Be kind to one another. Take care of one another. We will see you next week. Godspeed. And as always, go Bills.